Welcome to this video. It's more of a voiceover since I'm just recording this on top of a jam I recorded earlier. I want to talk a little bit about what I want to do with my rack, my eurorack system in 2025, and also a little bit of what I want to do outside of the eurorack system. Take everything I'm saying here with a grain of salt, since I tend to get into these ADHD rabbit holes where I find a concept or idea very exciting, and then I try to build my system more around that. I'm sure you're familiar with this. So you'll probably understand that a lot of these things I will be talking about are, well, ideas that I have now and have been having the last few weeks. But they might shift around, and well, some of them might be just trashed altogether, others will change, etc. The first thing I want to tackle inside my eurorack system is really simplifying, but also what's the opposite of simplifying? I want to revisit my drum section so I can, well, make more interesting drums. I don't really have a drum sequencer for more than one lane of gates. So that's something that I want to look at, how I can change that. I want to use nibblers for generating drums more, but I also would like to add something like, I've always wanted to buy the circadian rhythms, but lately I've been more and more interested in stuff like Trigger Riot, and really what I'm aiming for is a system where I can like do Euclidean rhythms, but with probability, so random skipping, and being able to well, sequence a little bit of off-grid stuff, etc. I also want to have a look at the modules that I use to generate my drum sounds. I've been using the Mandre by Maelstrom Audio extensively for kick drums. Recently I started using Creator by WMD and a lot more again. I'm kind of rediscovering that module. I used to not really like it that much, but well, it's starting to grow more and more on me again. And I might just remove Mandre from my rack, not because it's a bad sounding module. I really like it. In fact, I liked it a lot more than Creator. But well, it's a giant module, and I want to keep my black row contained. And there's a few more black modules that entered my rack this year, so I tried to shift stuff around so the black stuff goes on one row. I've also been looking at a Defam, which is both a sound generator device and a sequencer for drums. I think that's a really neat machine, but usually when I add stuff to my rack, I end up not really liking the workflow of that. So I will probably just stay in the rack. I don't have room to fit in a Defam into my rack, otherwise I probably would give it a shot. But talking about sequencing, I also want to add another sequencer to my rack for melodic voices. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a while now. Every once in a while I listen back to old tracks that I made, and sometimes there's a melody voice that I wonder about how the hell did I make that melody with my 16 or 8-step sequencers, because at the moment that's all I have. And then usually I just figure out that the melodies that I really like so much are made with the Nerdc. And I sold the Nerdc because it can do so much. In fact, it can do too much for my taste. But it can do almost everything you want. So it's a really good device, and I was considering to buy it back. But then I started comparing sequencers that are available right now, and then I came across the Tiptop Audio Z8000. And since that thing is so completely different from the Nerdc, you don't have to like program stuff in meticulously. You can rather stumble across melodies. And well, with all those lanes of CV that you can generate with that module, also running at different speeds, I'm sure I should be able to create more complex melodies with that. And well, in that case, an easier way to generate gate patterns of my choosing, instead of relying on probability or randomness like I'm doing now, would come in handy as well. In terms of drums and melodic voices, I've been looking at Elements for a while now. Elements has always intrigued me very, very much, but I'm kind of wondering, I have a BRiES clone, I also have a Rings clone, and I think those two together get me like 80% of the way of what you can do with Elements, but I'm not sure. I haven't played around with an Elements. And well, almost all the demos on YouTube sound really very much the same, which is probably a downside of Elements altogether. But then every once in a while there's a patch I stumble on in some video that really sounds beautifully haunting. And well, when Elements is involved, it always sounds interesting. It's just that it's so damn, I don't know, maybe it's just the mutable sound. I instantly recognize Rings, as do most of you, but I also recognize Elements, which I don't really like. Another thing that I want to tackle step by step really is constructing a way to sequence chords easier. For that I will have to acquire a second quantizer with shift setting. That would enable me, together with my quantizer that also already has a shift setting, this would enable me to just use one CV, and then with the two shifted quantizers I should be able to add like a third and a fifth to that, or anything else really, to generate chords with just one CV. I always find the quantizers lacking in that regard, that you can't generate CV for diatonic chords. It's really weird. Usually you can set a chord type and then you can transpose this, but that's not what I want to do. I want chords to be able to just run in the background, even with a random CV input, but still be really nice in tune without me having to sequence all the voices separately. I also want to be able to create really wide stereo chords, and I have been having a lot of fun with running chords through a pair of filters, or maybe I shouldn't say a pair, like through a series of filters. Instead of using just a low pass or a band pass, I've been using a high pass and a low pass filter. This gives me so much more control over the sound, and the the two filters I've been using for this are the Manhattan Analog SVVCF, usually in low pass mode, and then the Manhattan Analog MA35, which is a Korg MS-10 clone. I think I'm using that almost always as the high pass. It can be the other way around. It kind of really depends on the type of sound I want. And I really like how the quarts sound in batches where I used these two in series. So what I really want to do, and in fact there's a Manhattan Analog MA35 on its way from Slovenia, I think. So when it arrives, I will have two of those, and that will get me one step closer to creating quarts in stereo. Ideally, I would install a second SVVCF as well, so I can really independently control the two sides of the stereo field, both the high pass and the low pass filters, but that might be a little bit extravagant, and I'm sure with just one of those filters doubled up, I will be able to make it stereo enough. At the start of this ranty video, I said I wanted to talk a little bit about what I want to do outside the eurorack as well. Well, that's really simple. I would really want to be able to like demo some stuff that's just tabletop, like Groovebox or maybe a synth. How are those called? Like just standalone stuff, experimental things. There's so much interesting gear being created that's not inside the eurorack environment that I really would like to try out, but it's not possible for me. Well, is it possible for anyone to buy all that stuff just to try it out and make a few videos? And I don't have the patience to buy stuff and then try to sell it immediately after making a video. I really don't have the patience for that. So I hope to find a few makers that are willing to collaborate with me. I have tried this in the past, but once you're kind of I don't know how to call, pigeonholed inside one niche, it's really hard to convince people that you can do other stuff as well. Well, while in fact I've been doing other stuff much more and much longer than I've been doing the eurorack stuff, but what little fame that is bestowed upon me only came from within the eurorack environment. Yeah, that's completely understandable. But well, if you know anyone who's making stuff and doesn't find a reviewer, or rather a demonstrator, because I don't consider myself a reviewer at all, let them know that I exist. So that's it for this ranty video. I hope you have a nice year. Maybe just having a nice day is enough for your mindset. So whatever you want, I hope you get it. See you next time. Bye.